Can you repeat what Marlene's definition was? When you say he, who are you referring to? Can you say more about how he is old and how the rivers are old? When you say old soul,
Derek Castañeda's 7th grade language arts class is learning to use conversation cues, questions that push students' thinking and support dialogue among students.
Does anyone care to add on to what Liarcia is saying? Malachi, want to expand from what Raul is saying?
Derek's students have been studying the Harlem Renaissance. We captured the class doing a language dive into the poetry of Langston Hughes. In this 50-minute class of 31 students, 19 students are multilingual learners.
Can I have someone repeat what Raul said in your own words? Is that what you're saying, Raul? Or is
Conversation cues are questions that teachers can ask students to promote equitable and productive conversation, and they're based on 4 goals. Goal 1 is to ask questions that encourage all students to share their thinking, to talk, to be understood.
So I ask a lot of goal 1 questions throughout the whole lesson.
When you say old soul, can you say more about that? What do you mean an old soul? Can anyone explain this one? What is the meaning? Why would this student draw this? So can you say more about that, Malachi? Can you expand more on that? Can you explain more?
What we're doing with Goal 1, Share Thinking, is helping all students express their ideas. And it's not just limited to talking. It can include writing, sketching, and movement as well. Goal 2 is to ask questions that encourage students to listen carefully and to seek to understand one another.
Can I have someone repeat what Raul said? And then James, is there any way that you can repeat what Christine said in your own words? Kenneth, can you repeat what Marlene's definition was? Or say it in your own words?
Goal 3 is to ask questions that deepen students' thinking.
I think this sentence means that he is old, like how the rivers are old.
And when you say he, who are you referring to?
The person who wrote the poem.
You're talking about a literal sense. Can you expand more on that? Can you explain more?
As in, like, the soul is literally deep inside the river.
Which would be a what? What kind of representation? A literal, you said?
Yeah, it would be like literally a soul is underneath the river.
And then Malachi, what would you call the picture of the wise old man?
It's like a figurative drawing, I guess.
All right, something that represents, but not so much the literal. Good.
And Goal 4 is to expand the conversation for students to talk about one another's ideas.
Now, Queenie, can you repeat both of the things that she said?
Yes, she said that she has grown more mature and more intelligent over the years.
And now, Queenie, what is the difference between the two things that she said?
When she's talking about how she's grown more mature, she has maybe like grown from her mistakes and learned from them. And that's why she is the person she is today. And for intelligent, maybe she became more like creative.
I also have a couple of takeaways about using conversation cues. Wait time is so important, giving students time to think about the questions or their classmates' ideas. And I also listen more carefully to student language, grounding our conversations in their words and ideas.
In today's class, students are analyzing the Langston Hughes poem, The Negro Speaks of Rivers.
I've known rivers, I've known rivers ancient as the world and older than the flow.
The class is diving into one line from the poem.
My soul has grown deep like the rivers I bathe in.
As part of the language dive, each student quickly illustrated the line from the poem. In our video, we've decided to show one uncut conversation from Derek's class about this illustration of the language dive sentence. Consider how Derek's questions match the 4 goals of conversation cues. Students share their thinking. They listen carefully to one another. They deepen their thinking. And they expand the conversation with other students in the room. Consider as well Derek's 2 takeaways for teachers: wait time and listening carefully to student language. Here's the scene.
We're going to park here. Can someone explain, doesn't have to be the person who drew it, can someone explain why this person maybe chose to draw this specific drawing? Give you a moment to think if you need to. When I asked to draw a picture of the meaning of the sentence. Why would they draw this?
The person who drew this drew that because so it's probably because they're old and they're wise, so they're deep as a river as in ages and deep as a river as in wise.
Does anyone care to add on to what Liarcia is saying?
They most likely drew an old man because older people have experienced more and are wiser because of their experiences.
Yeah. Could be.
Could I add on to what Gabriel said?
Oh yeah, exactly, Raul. That's good. Go ahead.
Well, what Gabriel said, with the more older they are, the more they know, so the deeper into the conversation they can get. So like they could hold a conversation longer. So since they know more about it than most people would.
That's actually something I've never thought of. Malachi, are you want to expand from what Raul is saying?
When you're old, you're wise.
When you're old, but yeah, you should be. Hopefully, you are. But I'm gonna go back to what Raul is saying right now, and just so I want to make sure we're all clear, can I have someone repeat what Raul said in your own words? Any volunteer? And if anyone needs Raul to repeat, he can do so.
Raul said that, my own words, that since old people are usually more wise than other people, they could hold conversations better since they know more about the topic.
Is that what you're saying, Raul? Or was it slightly different? What do you say?
Exactly like that, but also how they can get deeper into the conversation on the topic.
That is very profound, Raul.
Conversation cues really elevate student voice. Very quickly, we can see that with initial teacher support, that students are able to have their own productive and equitable conversations independently.
Queenie, can you repeat both of the things that she said? What is the difference between the two things that she said?
Conversation cues are helpful in supporting all of my students, but in particular, my English language learners. They have helped me get to know my students on a whole deeper level, not only to learn about where they're coming from academically, but it gives me a lens into their lives and how they see the world.
What is the difference between the two things that she said? How are you intelligent, Alexis? Can you explain more? Kenneth, can you tell me what two things Angelina Lopez is comparing there? Tao, can you repeat what Angelia said? And Tao, what do you think that means in your own words? How would a disowned kitty be independent? Liarcy?